Hi, I'm Robert Finder. I've done a surround mix of a Nine Inch Nails track. The track's called The Great Destroyer. A couple of years ago, Nine Inch Nails released a bunch of their tracks on their website for fans to remix and that sort of thing. So I downloaded the multi-track stems from The Great Destroyer, which is off the Year Zero album. When I first heard this song, I thought it would sound great in surround sound, so that's what I've done. Basically, my mix starts pretty much as this track is on the album. In terms of the surround space, the first half, up to 1 minute 40, occurs mostly on the front, left and right channels, with some sounds moving through the rear channels and around the listener. At 1:40, which for those of you who know the track, it sort of goes into this loud, industrial, glitchy, noisy sort of stuff. That's when I've started to use the entire surround sound space. So I'll just run the two halves of the track just so I get an idea of what I've done, and then I'll talk about them. Okay, so that's the first half of the track where it's pretty much stereo, left and right, with a few sounds happening around the listener in the rear speakers. So, and this is the half that is in full surround sound. So the way I approached doing the surround mix was that I wanted, well, generally in a lot of surround mixes, it's still very front-centric. There's things going on in front of the listener and, you know, basically reverb and delay happening behind them. And I kind of wanted to utilize the space as much as possible to make it immersive and, you know, interesting. There are sounds coming from you from all different directions. So basically the way I open up the track in the surround sound field, the vocals are automated at 1 minute 40. I've used the Waves Reverb 360 plugin, and yeah, I automated the reverb. So basically they start from behind the listener and move forward into the center speaker. So basically by automating the reverb, I kind of open them up into this huge space and narrow them down, at which point the beats come in and, you know, you hear much more sub, much more lower end, and the crazy glitchy sound stuff moving around you. Probably the best place to start talking about this is the subwoofer mix, in that I sent all the drum tracks into the subwoofer and then heavily EQ'd that. I think it's cut off at about 140 kilohertz. So yeah, everything gets sent to the subwoofer, and I basically drop that out at particular points just to give presence and interest at certain points throughout the music. You know, so working like that meant that I had a lot of material to work with in the subwoofer, rather than just having, you know, like the one kick drum or anything like that. I send everything to it and sort of automate the frequency cutoff and even the volume of that. So, and also throughout the track, I've used phasing to give particular sounds movement. There are sections in it at 149, 159 and 209 and that sort of thing where, you know, the subwoofer cuts out and the sounds appear to move around you, and I didn't do that, you know, in terms of saying put this sound here and move it over here. I said I'd have these two sounds phasing each other so that they have particular places to go, which I think is really effective in that some sounds seem to be coming from somewhere where there's no speakers. I really wanted to try and not have everything isolated, you know, to the front left, front right, right surround, left surround, center and sub. I wanted to make, you know, this sort of bubble that you sit in when you listen to it. So one of the ways I did that was with a 360-degree reverb on the master channel with like a 10% mix, 1 second reverb. to sort of give it that thickness so that everything sort of ties together. You're not hearing things from one particular direction, although things are behind you or in front of you. They're not, oh, that's coming out of the left surround and right surround. Yeah, that's my surround mix of the Nine Inch Nails track. I believe it's successful in what I tried to do in creating its own environment without being your standard surround mix. I wanted to create a surround environment that you could say it's more reminiscent of something that you'd hear in an art gallery rather than on a surround DVD. I have sort of applied the convention of surround mixes in that there is a delay and there is reverb on the rear speakers. But I think those things need to be followed in terms of people know what they're hearing, and things like the pinner effect. There is a